Om Purnamada Purnamidam Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Moti Veda Vibhagine Yomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Savavedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanantam Satiguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste everybody. So shall we begin? How shall we begin?
I, we could talk about. I really want to get back to the big picture, but I was just kind of thinking today. I mean, a general question. So I was going to offer a general question if you want to start with something different. So
Okay, so let's begin with general Vedantic questions.
Well, what's kind of occurred to me, just I'm kind of going through it right now, but it just feels like Mithya is just taking over, and it's feeling like and so it's really like I can't say I can't manage Mithya, but I mean Mithya just seems to consume like all attention, all senses, everything in terms it occupies the mind totally. And so I know that like coming to the teachings is a good thing to do, to get at least a little a bit of a balance back into my life. But I just was wondering for general discussion, just when it feels like Mithya is just it's just taking over, and occupying, up to, just occupying the mind completely. Just ideas about managing that and finding some balance within Mithya, so that I don't know. Is it, do we bring more satya in? Is that the idea,
Yeah.
or do we go back to karma yoga or sattvic living? What do you do when just Mithya just
Well,
seems to
I
be
mean,
taken over? So
I think I understood your point, but what do? You just keep fighting it back, Mitya is beginningless. It's powerful. It is Mr. Maya imposing this cosmic universal ignorance. That gets human jivas caught up in samsara, the world of gaining, attaining, retaining. And avoiding that run to gain, avoid, retain, and so it is so easy to be caught up. And I tell you, even after self-knowledge is firm, you still have to keep doing your disciplines. You have to keep attention and so on, because media can be all consumed if we are not really vigilant and disciplined. And we have definitely our energies consumed by this pool, this energetic pool that society has over all of us. And society nowadays seems to be much more complex and much more intense and fast, on a fast pace of communication. Yeah. And we almost feel like if I do not keep up with all this new tech, if I don't keep up, I become obsolete. And then I have to keep running to keep up. It's not easy, David. It is a challenge, and we have no other option but keeping fighting, keeping find a balance, as you said, keeping look for a moderation, control of my taking time for Upasana yoga, which is one of the next subjects in the book here, the big picture. Okay, taking time to relax the mind, to calm down, to control your thoughts, and then your body, instruments of actions, and reflect on previous events and actions and results. So we need to keep taking time. So it boils down, Dave, to fight this universal force of video. It boils down to simplifying our lifestyle. And I trust that you are trying to do that now, making the move that you are moving. So my suggestion is that we should not try to expand at this point in our lives, especially considering our ages, but to cut down and reduce and simplify so that we have more time for this spiritual endeavor. You see, on the stage of one's life, there is the retiree, when we retire, stage in which we have more and more free time, and then we begin studying and so on. And then the last one is in which the householder that now was a retiree, retiree, now he is what? He's a sannyas. He does not need to go to the forest, even though in the old style, in the old culture, they used to go to a gurukula and sit there as a sannyasi. So one does not want any more obstruction. It's all of a question is of how much money I really need, and what it takes for me to feel secure enough so that I can slow down on my day-to-day running activities that stress the mind. Too much physical, mental activity stress the mind, makes the mind rajasic and tamasic, and makes this work more difficult. So we always have to go back and see to what I have to somehow change in my lifestyle, what I can do to make my lifestyle more more in harmony, more in conformity with my spiritual goal. I mean, I have a certain age, so now I just want to go, and I have accomplished what I have accomplished. Do I have enough? Oh yes, I have enough. Oh no, I don't have enough. And then okay, and then I'm gonna work another 5, 10 years. Or you say, no, I don't have enough if I keep up with this lifestyle. But if I reduce my lifestyle, I have enough. So what did I do 6 years ago when I sold our restaurant? As you know, we sold the restaurant because it was too much. It was damaging my physical body and my subtle body. Okay, and I knew I had to get rid of it. But I knew that I had no means to stop working because we did not have enough money. So what we did to do? We had to get rid of our good house, beautiful home there, you understand, in Washington State. And we had to come to Brazil to try to live within our means, which was a very, very small income from the rental of the house we left there. So I had to reduce my lifestyle. And then later on, we went to Italy because some relative offered an apartment nearly for free. So you just go adjusting. It's just now that, we got a place that we can call home, especially for Silva, that women usually care more for a home, a house. So we bought this property here, and it's cheap because it's in the very far in the countryside. So we need to do what it takes to adjust this lifestyle to our most important goal of life. You understand? And we need to look and see, okay, I'm successful, I make good money, and how many more years. I remember the people, my guests, my clients there in the restaurant, because we had a good restaurant and with a great reputation, a good basic clientele. People did not believe when they heard that I was going to give it away. I say, but you crazy, you worked so hard for 10 years to finally build it. This is your retirement. And people could not understand why I want to walk away from it, because at that point, money and security was no longer my priority. My priority was my health, my physical body, and my subtle body, the health of my physical body and my subtle body. You understand? So we need to see. So how much money I need so that I can slow down. You understand? And then reorganize your life around these points. So what is, and if you keep running, doing, we know what happens to our minds. Our minds getting agitated, stressed. And then when we try to bring that disturb mind to the scripture. The scripture, it looks awful. I say, oh, there is nothing to it, because the mind can no longer comprehend the scripture in that state of agitation, perturbation, stress, you understand, conflicts and negative emotions. The mind has to be very fine, subtle, and contemplative to go to the scripture. We need to somehow create this environment, a scientific kind of environment, you understand? And you need to say, I mean, I don't know much of your life personally. I spent some time with you when I went to Carbondale, but after that, we only meet in satsang. But I would invite you to check and see how much money you need to slow down, and to take it more. But it could be that you are very stressful because of the move you are doing from one state to another, and then things settle down again. I don't know.
And, I think it's, I just, when I think about it, like you think, oh, financial planning, we should do financial planning, like you talk about that. And yet anybody you would go to, no one's going to understand, the perspective that kind of comes from Vedanta, that what you really want to do
Yeah.
is, go into, spiritual, and most of them are going to say, well, to maintain your lifestyle, you're going to need X number of dollars. This is the number. This is the number they talk about. There's an organization that they talk about your number that you have to hit in order to keep that lifestyle. But if you're really thinking about, going to the forest and really changing your lifestyle, um, I don't think you're going to get a lot of advice and support within Mithya, within the normal world that's out there. So I find it very difficult.
Yeah.
I haven't really tried even to find a retirement planner or anything else like that, because I just don't think anybody's going to get it. And
No, don't listen to those fools. I went to see one of these advisors when I was still running my restaurant. And when he looked at my situation and he told me, you have to work until you're 75. I told him, what? No way,
yeah,
no way. I'm going to be out of here
yeah,
very, very soon, regardless of how much money or savings we have. You understand? They don't understand. They don't understand
yeah.
that the most precious thing we have is our mind, If the mind is damaged, no matter how much money you have, how much savings, you are not going to be able to enjoy that wealth. The mind is our primary
And so you
instrument
really
to
have to let
enjoy.
go. Yeah, you have to let go that the concept that people are going to approve of what you're doing, because it's
Yeah.
going to be contrary to what they think they should be doing.
Yeah. So
And
one
so
of
that's fine, but I can't go for approval. I can't say, oh, well, my kids are going to think this, I'm doing the right thing, or my ex-wife, or, my parents or my siblings. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a lot of support. And
no,
if I want to do that. And
no. Association. You have to associate with the wiser. You need to associate with Vedanta people who understand the real values of life. If you associate with samsaris, they are going to keep pulling
yeah,
you down. You understand?
yeah. Well, Ruth was telling me about an ashram in Chicago. So that Vivekananda has it's kind of is originated with Vivekananda after he appeared in Chicago, and
Yeah.
so I've started to check into some of that kind of thing, because I think that's the right thing too, to find maybe some local activities for this Rajasic mind of mine to be able to participate in, that are still there's Rajasic, but they have a good component of Sattva to them, and that will help me do that. One
Yeah.
question, I tried to figure this out from the book. I love the concept of the four stages of life. It's been something that I was exposed to back in, I don't know, 2017 in India, really by a Brahmin, just a friend who's a Brahmin, and he kind of he introduced me to it. But what I've never been able to figure out and get consistency on is are there names? Are there Sanskrit names for the four stages? Because even as I read the book, they mention some, but they don't name the last stage. And so I'm just wondering if you've ever come across that, or if you've
I,
settled on the
yeah.
four stages. What are the Sanskrit, or I don't care, English? It can be English. If it's Portuguese, that won't help me. But um, or if it's
Well,
Italian, maybe that'll help
here,
Claudia. Yeah.
uh, I have heard it. I came across studying the audios of Swami Paramarthananda several times, but I don't have very good memory. But in this book, they did not mention the last stage in Sanskrit. This is this book
You
from
know, I guess I look at it, and they did. They talked about the student stage, brahmacharya, householder stage was um, grhastha. So it's on page 12. The retirement or an ascetic stage, and then a renunciant stage, a sannyasi. But you know, that renunciant stage, that sounded to me like different than what I think of as the final stage, really being the transition from this life to you know, the transition through death to, you know, whatever, to returning back to,
yeah
you know, the you know, the body being released and being done. I don't see that as I don't. It's hard for me to connect that to the renunciation stage. It almost sounds like the renunciation stage is something that you can choose anywhere through your life and become a sannyasi, but it doesn't really, to me, talk about the final stage, which is that transitioning stage.
yeah
And so
yeah
that's where I had trouble, like, you know, like, what is the final stage? And um, and or maybe I'm just not interpreting that correctly, and
yeah.
which
The
is
first,
I
well,
won't say that.
the fourth stage of the life, you know, gradually following the life stage model, which is based on the Dharma, you will enjoy. Mm. The question arises whether, so I don't know. Well, I mean, I can tell you the concept. Okay. So the first stage you understood, huh? We are just being prepared for society. We are students and so on, and then we put up a family. I mean, all of that within the Vedic Hindu kind of model, you know. And then you put up a family, and then you are a provider. You need to be supporting your family, educate your children, and then once you did that dharma, and then you can retire, you know, and within that context, the family, the children on those days within the Vedic culture would begin taking over the and becoming the providers of the family, you know, and then you step, but you remain sometimes still associated with family. You're still the head of the family, you understand? You're still participating and making the final decisions and so on. So and you study the scriptures. Now all the rest of your time, you go to study the scripture, study the scripture. So you do a lot of Shravana and Manana in that period of time. You dedicate your time while still, you know, participating as the head of the family, but no longer being a provider. So the last stage is when you walk away even from that, and from studying the scriptures and remaining within that householding position without having to work and provide. You move out and you go to one of the gurukulas of those days, or you go to an ashram and you become a sannyas, and then you do your final nididhyasana. You know, you don't want to have any distraction. You don't want to be overwhelmed by any any distraction or problems coming from family issues and children and grandchildren. So you just don't want your mind to be exposed to any disturbance, you know. Why? Because now you are in the final stage of your inquiry, and you need to keep your mind as free as possible from agitation, from disturbance, you know, and so on. So you step out and you go to intensify your nididhyasana, contemplating, meditating, studying, assimilating, you know, applying the knowledge and so on. So that's what it means, the fourth stage, you know, within that Vedic context. Now, when we look in terms of our modern society, so it's already difficult nowadays to retire from the jobs, you know. most people have to stay with it until 70 or more, So it's difficult to retire. So what do you think about walking away and going to a gurukula that does not really exist in the West, or going to a forest or to an ashram? So we have to adjust this to the modern days and the Western style societies as well, and see, I mean, we need to do our Shravana Manana Didhyasana already as a householder and a provider working, so bringing up money for the family. So even from the early stage, we need to integrate all these different stages in one single moment of our life. We are young and we are provider, we are householder, we have several rules to play. At the same time, I want to have having some retiree time to study the scripture and so on. And I need to make up total free space here and there to do my nididhyasana as well. We need to combine all these three stages or two stages, the two finals, as an adult, because our goal is self-knowledge, our goal is moksha, and we don't have the structure, the cultural structure in which I can easily live, and become a sannyas. So to become a sannyas in the West is it's not something as it used to be in India, 100 years ago. It was a choice, a conscious choice that you make. Now I want to dedicate my life to the full assimilation of this knowledge, and gaining more. So we are householders. The times are modern. We need to combine our 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 two stages of life as adults, or three, because we are working, and then we want to find time for retirement while working, and then we want to find time for total withdrawal, meaning to say a mental condition of no preoccupations. We see the second stage because I'm still within the workforce. So it is more challenging, but it is what it is, as we know. So it's important we understand the concept and know that. I mean, I heard some nice talks of Swami Paramarthananda, and he brings up the fact that it's much more difficult nowadays. Society is much more challenging than it used to be, and we are bombarded by so much activities and roles to play and things. There is a lot of pressure. It's not easy. But he also says that walking away from this prabhupada karma of ours, no, and trying to become a sannyasi, we go there, and there are all kinds of difficulties there as well. Beginning from the fact that very few people go and become a sannyas in an ashram there in India or in the USA, if you wish, and very few people are truly prepared for that, and then things can become much more complicated, if the mind is not purified, refined enough to make that step. The regret may be huge, and the problems one may experience could be also overwhelming. Understand? So we need to do the best we can. I understand very much your situation because I have been going through all of that, and many times I had the impulse to walk away from everything, and but again and again there was always a voice that would tell me to stay with it and work in spite of this overwhelming force called avidya or maya of samsara. Samsara is compared to a huge crocodile when it opens its jaws, and then it grabs us, it consumes us, and we don't even notice it. It goes consuming us, consuming us, consuming us, consuming us, and it's not easy to get out of it. So we need to understand samsara and we need to understand that samsara is not only the physical lifestyle of everybody running like crazy, but we have our inner samsara. Our inner samsara is our mental emotional condition that is all wrapped up into the same reality, but subjectively operating in one's mind. If we go with such a mind, try to escape samsara, what I mean to say, we take samsara and the inner samsara besides, and it's not going to work. So after all, it is through this attitude of Karma Yoga and the spirit, the knowledge spirit of Karma Yoga that we learn to stay in the world and doing our roles, doing our things, and meanwhile preparing the mind, refine the mind so that later on we can be successful with our self-inquiry, and we can be successful in withdrawing from this running without feeling lost or depressed, or you understand, trapped in my own mind and so on.
And we're really we're setting the stage with this discussion for Upasana too. I mean, so the Karma Yoga is the activity in dealing with like how to approach everyday life kind of thing, and to keep it, creating an environment that's more sattvic. And but Upasana, then, if we're really working towards becoming grounded and centered, if you will, within our mind, then Upasana, maybe that's really the next step to have that kind of core, that settlement. So everything that's going on around you is happening around you, but you remain quiet. To me, it's like going deep. Like the ocean is very busy at the top, and there's lots going on, and you try and build the best ship you possibly can. But what you really need is to go deep, which is ballast or a deep keel, so that you get down into the quiet waters. And so you're actually, you're below the surface, and that's where the work needs to be done, is not just at the surface, because you can't quiet the ocean, but you can go deeper in the water and find quieter water below the surface. And that's, to me, maybe that's Upasana, which clearly is the timing is perfect for me. So okay. Other thoughts, or what are other people are in different stages of their lives? So hopefully that was worthwhile.
Going back to your analogy about the ocean. So the surface of the ocean in that analogy, it refers to the mind in its mental, emotional activities, And this mind, it tends to be very, very much vulnerable and subjective to the field, to the samsara. Samsara can affect the mind very much, So the mind in its surface, it can be very, very, very troubled, But we need to somehow, refine the mind so that we go to the depths of the mind, meaning to say we reach the self-conscious awareness, which is the nature of the mind, in which we don't experience necessarily all the disturbance of the mind, because we are placing ourselves in a deeper aspect. We are placing our sense of identity in the deeper aspect of the mind, which is consciousness, you understand? And then by doing that, we are not only breaking identification with the changing afflictive mind, but the mind as well calms down, because we have established our sense of identity as the witnessing consciousness that objectifies the mind. So objectivity in regards to the mind and the body is one of the things we gain with Upasana yoga as well, So
okay, thank you.
Anybody, anything else before anything else? Mark?
What I found, Dave, with regards to Mifia, is Mifia's insistent. It never stops. You get up each day and it's the same problems or more problems. So I've started getting up 5:30 in the morning and doing an hour's Bhagavad Gita study and then doing an hour's meditation. And what I'm finding is it sets me up for the day, even if my day is chaotic afterwards. And even if I don't get to do any more spiritual work that day, I'm grounded from that moment on. And it's always in my mind. So what I would suggest is start your day, if you can, with some spiritual study or some spiritual activity, or just looking at the teachings. And this I have found has been so beneficial for me. So, yeah, good luck. It's a battle which never ends, yeah.
Very nice. Thank you, Mark. We need to control this mind, because samsara is a mental condition. So we need to discipline this mind, discipline the sense organs, and all those aspects that go under Upasana Yoga, which is the sixfold disciplines. So let me look back here before we go. Does anybody has any other question or comment or contribution?
Yeah, Rajastic Dave wants to create a curriculum here in the United States.
Say it again, please, David.
So Rajastic Dave wants to create a curriculum here in the United States.
Rajastic Dave wants to create a good luck. That's nice. That's good activity.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll just do that with my place and my new roommate. And but I don't know that he'll be open to that. So yeah. We'll see.
Remember, you have to make a lot of hot coffee, and then you sit with your roommate, and then while he's waiting for the coffee to cool down, you teach him Vedanta, small little bits and pieces, homeopathic dose.
Yeah, well, he already said he wants me to get rid of my TV, and so maybe that's a good sign.
Yeah. Okay. Upasana Yoga then. So do we have any questions about Upasana, or shall we go following the text? The next branch of the sadhana is called Upasana. Upasana Yoga is the art of disciplining, refining, integrating the personality. So it's very nice. I like it. So Swami Paramarthananda often puts this word personality, you know, in his teachings, to indicate that the personality must be the beneficiary of this spiritual knowledge, you understand? Because a lot of people in different, even Vedantic groups, say, what, personality? Personality is an imposter. No, our mental, emotional personality, ego, is the true beneficiary of this spiritual wisdom, you know? So it is a yoga, yeah, designed for disciplining, refining, and integrating our mental, emotional personality. The discipline, to discipline this personality, it means the ego, you know, this doer of actions, this aspect of our human experience that is called to respond to the stimulus to coming from the field, Dharma field, in a moment to moment, you know. So it has the purpose of refining this ego. To discipline this ego personality is similar to constructing a dam across the river. This is a very nice analogy, because we have all this life force, all this energy we can see. We look at the child has so much energy, and they do not know what to do with that amount of energy, and then they have to run, they have to jump, and so on, you know. So we have these energies. So some people have more, some people have less. The ones more rajasic, we need to know what to do with this energy. And then this Upasana Yoga, which is the yoga of discipline, which is better explained or illustrate as regulating discipline, because we want to not just block this energy, but we need to regulate this energy, this basic life force, which always comes as a desire for experience. We need to regulate that so that we attain moderation, we don't allow this energy to just overrun, or as David said before, it's to take me over, I mean, this Raja energy, the Raja, this desire, this creative desire for doing, accomplish, gaining, or becoming better, or developing, better environment or whatever, this energy needs to be regulated, otherwise it's just overflowing, So this is the analogy of the dam, because it serves the purpose to hold the river so that the water can be retained and then can be properly used for different creative purpose, okay? Like irrigation, or create a little bit of electrical power and so on. So the same thing is with our human personality. We have all this amount of Shakti, and we can do so many things with it. But if we just allow it, to take over our lives, and if we don't have enough sattva to discipline and regulate these energies, and then we may lose balance, and then the equipment may get burned out, as we know. So this basic energy is desire for experience, accomplishing, gaining, achieving, and so on. And the ultimate desire we know is desire for self-knowledge and moksha, which is by itself a desire, although a lot of people do not like this desire, this word, desire, self-knowledge is a desire, so we should avoid it. No, it's the highest goal in life. So at Vidyaranya no, Paramartananda says that a dog cannot desire self-knowledge, but a human being can, as we know. Then we need a way for actualizing that desire, and for that we have the power to know and reason. So we have this nice, intelligent intellect that can connect the dots between our sense perception and then our actions coming from the sense, the organs of actions, and the results of those actions. And then we begin refining, improving the way we receive, as a receiver, as a bhakta, as an experiencer, a receiver, the receiving aspect of my personality and the doer aspect. So we go refine because we have this intelligent intellect that can connect the dots between, I'm receiving this stimuli, I'm responding that way, and now I'm having these other circumstances come to me and disconnect with my response to the previous stimulus come. So we have the ability to actualize and gain moksha and self-knowledge because of this intellectual power we have, okay? But this power needs to be purified, refined, and regulated, and that is what discipline comes in place, So the last aspect of our yoga is actually Jnana Yoga, the study and reflection, contemplation on the Mahavakyas, or final statements of the Upanishads. But now we are talking about preparing the mind. We know that Kama Yoga is our primary yoga for preparing the mind. We're going to prepare the mind by the means of Kama Yoga, and Kama Yoga is the most natural purifier or refiner, because it does not require that you stop completely your lifestyle as a householder, for example, and go anywhere. No, you stay with it, you adjust it a little bit, You know, you just keep, you know, bringing into account your ultimate goal, and then reorganize one's life. You keep doing what you're doing, but you understood what Karma Yoga is, you understood what Ishvara is, you understood what Jiva is, and what the Dharma field is, and the laws governing the Dharma field. And then you brought Ishvara into your life, into the equation of your life. And now you develop this devotional attitude, which is extremely important, because Karma Yoga is understanding of Dharma, understanding of the karmic laws, and then proper actions based on that understanding. But this proper action has to come with a proper attitude, a devotional attitude. So Karma Yoga is a great, very natural, how you say, purifier of the mind, okay? Because it does not require us to go to an ashram to do mental preparedness. You know, you are doing that as you're living your life. So this is the primary instrument to develop the required or necessary qualifications, mental, emotion, intellectual qualifications required for self-knowledge, okay? But then we have this other discipline, this other yoga, which is Upasana yoga. Upasana yoga is this yoga of disciplining, you understand? So now you're disciplining, you are regulating your mind, you know, you want to find what? Equanimity, you want to find moderation, you understand? So a dog cannot require moksha, but a human being can. But we need a way of actualizing this desire for moksha. And for that, we have the power to know and reason, this intelligent power, and the power to act, to respond. It's through discipline of the mind that these three powers can be properly utilized. Discipline is the principle of both quality and quantity control. So you see, the power to think and the power to act, you know, and the power to receive, you know, the way we receive this stimulus coming from the world, you know, they are all based on, they have to be refined by the means of quality and quantity. What does that mean? So we need to regulate and discipline the way we receive, the way we think, the way we respond, you understand? And all of this has to be done in terms of quality and quantity, okay? So I want to have a certain adjustment, not only in the quality. I want to control the quality of my thoughts, of my answers, and so on, but the quantity as well, because I mean, it's like eating food. Oh no, I'm just a health freak. I only eat super organic food and the best possible food. You understand? And I do that. Give me just a moment, please, Sylvia. Cidinho, can you pass para Cidinho? Yeah. Quanto que é 750? Okay, sorry for that. So it's like, I mean, I'm a health food freak. I only eat organic and the best organic food possible. You know, I grow my food and this and that. But guess what? So I eat too much. And then if I eat too much, that will make my body sick, regardless of being high quality food. The same way in regards to speaking, you know. So a lot of people, more Rajasic people, talk too much, but then we need to, for example, observe the quality of our speech, you know, the manner by which we communicate and what kind of talk we like to talk. If we just like to gossip or small talks or whatever, you know. So it's all about quality and quantity. Oh no, I only talk about Vedanta. But guess what? Everybody's trying to escape me when they see me in the street, because when I grab someone, I talk for 1 hour about Vedanta. No, it's a question of quality and quantity, we need to have moderation there. Every action, it applies to every action we undertake. The scriptures speak of 4 levels of discipline. Discipline of the physical body, discipline of speech, discipline of the sense organs as a receiver, as a bhokta, and discipline of the mind. Okay, so what's the discipline of the body, the physical body? It's very important we take care of this body. We know that the body mind complex is one single organism. We say, no, now I'm a yoni and I'm doing some self-inquiry. I don't care for the body. No, we need to have a certain discipline in regards to the body, because if the body is neglected, the body gets ill. When the body gets ill, it gets more and more tamasic. And when the body gets tamasic, the mind comes down with it, becomes tamasic as well, because the body-mind complex is one single organism. So we want to have a very, very objective view, perspective of the body. I'm not the body, but the body is a very important instrument by which I become an inquirer here, because my mind depends also on the state of this physical body. So the health of the body is the most important, most basic requirement for my achievement, which all my achievements are not only for moksha, but includes the the gain of moksha, the pursuit of moksha. Even if we do happen to achieve something, without our health, we'll be unable to enjoy the fruits of that labor. How about that? Just imagine those guys that work, and they never want to stop. Now I say, when I stop, I will relax. When I stop, I will relax. When I stop, I will relax. When they stop, they no longer can relax because the mind was damaged by too much stress, too much activities, or even worse. Oh no, now I'm going to stop. I'm 78, I stop. And then the guy has a terminal disease and dies. So we need to know that the body is a very, very important primary instrument by which we can become a knower and an enjoyer. And we need to take care of this body, because without this body, we will not be able to enjoy all our efforts, our physical and our, our intellectual efforts. They are going to fructify, and if the body is not healthy enough, we may not be able to enjoy the results. In the Gita, Krishna states that for the sake of the self, one must observe discipline in eating. For the sake of the self, for the sake of consciousness shining this this intellect, we must observe the discipline in eating, both in terms of quality and quantity. Eating too much is as dangerous as fasting too much. Similarly, too much activity is as bad as total inactivity. How interesting, yeah? I'll say, no, too much activity is very, very stressful, yeah? And I become a rajasic, and it's a source of illness and so on. And then I will stop all activities. And then, no good idea. Why? Because I become too tamasic. And tamasic can become another source of sickness and illness. So we need a proper balance. We need to regulate those energies so that we have certain amounts of sattva, of sattva to give me mental clarity, rajas to accomplish my goals, and tamas to remain grounded and relaxed and have a good night of sleep. So we eat, we digest, and then we do what we need to do, and we go in this cycle, and then we sleep in the night. So moderation and balance and regulation is the most important thing. All these things require balance so that the physical body is fit for the pursuits, all pursuits of life, and most important, the final pursuit of moksha. Yoga, physical exercise, and a good diet are some of the methods recommended for looking after the physical body. Okay, so we need to take care of the body. And as we know, as we get older, the body begins presenting more and more defects here and there. You know, I have been dealing with things on my cervical, and I have been going through quite some pain recently. And I mean, it's the body that I have. It's getting older, so I had to go to a chiropractor. I have to go to acupuncturist and this and that, and start doing what I can to find a little more balance to the body, because I want to enjoy whatsoever life I have left, right? So I did my work. I worked up to here. So now I want to have a body fit so that I can enjoy the fruits. But we never know. When our time comes, depending on our prarabdha karma, if one has certain papa lined up in one's prarabdha karma, and then if it is pain and suffering and pain and pain and pain and pain, you know, one must take it, you know, with a proper attitude, like Ramana Maharaj did when he got that cancer. So the other level of discipline, which is very important, is the verbal speech. So speech control. The teachings give a lot of importance to verbal discipline. It's recommended that we avoid argument. That's very nice. It's important that we avoid argument, as this saves us a lot of time, energy, and stress, conflict. We should also avoid gossiping and talking about others. Finally, we are highly advised to avoid meaningless small talks, worthless chatter, talk that is neither useful to the speaker or to the listener. Hmm? Oh, but I am Italian, and it's my nature to talk anything, you know. Okay, so this is your apparent nature as a jiva, but now you are inquiring, you know, you are Vedantin, so one has to control those that, you know, secondary apparent nature as an Italian jiva who talks a lot, for example, you know. So we need to avoid gossiping and talking of others. Avoiding argument this is a difficult one, because the egos, they get involved with arguments so easily. You know, I know, and I'm gonna tell you what's the right thing here. You know, it's my truth, and I'm going to prove it to you that I am right. So most egos, they are much more interested, or it's vasana that compels every ego to be interested mostly in being right, than rather than to be relaxed and happy. You know. So we need to avoid, regulate those tendencies, those vasanas, and stop being argumentative, stop gossiping, and having these small talks as well. And it's not only about the quality of the speech, but it's also the quantity, because as I mentioned before, no, I only talk about very elevated subject, but too much is too much, even if it's nice, beautiful subject, you know. We need to have balance, and develop the ability to stay quiet, to shut up and to stay quiet when that is the most appropriate thing to do. Talking too much about the past and the future is generally a waste of time, unless it can be used with reference to the present. So one of the most annoying things is when you go into a new place. I came here, I'm new here, I don't have much motivation to connect with the people who came from outside here, who came from Europe, or there are several foreigners around here. I don't connect much with people. I don't have much interest. And when I connect, I observe one thing. Everybody wants to, with rare exception, they want to tell their story. Oh, I did this, I did that, and I have accomplished this, I have accomplished that. There is nothing more boring than having to listen to people telling their life story, their accomplishments, and so on, you know. But that's samsara. They believe to be their life history, the life, one's life accomplishments, and they want you to know how great of samsara he is. So the best way is just to minimize your exposure to samsaris. Okay, that's what I do. I keep it to the minimum. I do that with some family members, And with the few people I meet him here, it's just more like the American way of saying hi, hi, and present a nice, loving smile, you know, and keeping a safe distance. Okay. By avoiding arguments, gossip, and these small talks, we free up a lot of energy for our Vedantic scriptural study and contemplation and assimilation, huh? Because now we are controlling our flow of energy like we control the waters of the river with the dam, you know, so that we can use, you know, we can hold that energy and use it intelligently. So we are controlling our energy and then channeling it to the scriptures. One of the ways to look at the energy that the yogi, the true yogi has, you know, the guy who has this enormous Shakti like Papaji used to have, you understand? Is someone who has a lot of energy, a lot of Shakti because he has been disciplining and he has done so much deep meditation. And energy comes in and energy does not come out. Why? He's not really, you know, interacting with the world. He's a yogi, you understand? He likes to shut all the sense organs and hold this energy. And then when he comes and he sees the people around him, he radiates this enormous amount of energy, okay? Because he's a yogi. He retains and then he has this, you know, like Ramana Maharaj was said to be, you know, this enormous powerhouse of Shakti that would silence the mind of nearly anyone around him. So we need to control these energies. In terms of quality control, our speech should be non-hurtful, polite, useful, and truthful. So this is the result we want to gain by verbal discipline. Sensory discipline. The sense organs are like open doors. They are gateways through which the world enters our mind in the form of sound, touch, color, taste, and smell. So we know we have seen in many of our texts that the sense organs con- contacts their respective objects in any case. If unless we are yogi, we don't want to have any contact and we want to hold this energy for whatsoever reason, just to have a Kundalini experience or to contemplate on the scriptures and then understand one's true nature. But the same way, the sense organs, they are connecting the world as a household, as someone living in the world, connects the world regardless. And they do it because it was made to do that. And Bhagwan is there behind all of that. I mean to say Shwara, you know, and we are almost helpless, but we have the ability to regulate the sense organs, you understand? So that they are not sucked into the world and then attached to the world, as we say in the samsara condition, you know, attachment, you know, totally compelled, and you know these energies, you know, these desires to allow the sense organ to go and run to the world of object and yum, 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 consuming whatsoever experience. So that's what sensory discipline comes in. So our minds are all the time going out and touching the world. These sense organs automatically operate whenever we are in the external world. If we are in the waking state, these sense organs are connecting their respective object. Whether we like it or not, their input streams into our mind are going to come. We connect to the object and the input from the object hits us back, okay? There's no way. When the world takes shape in the mind via the sense, it then has the capacity to disturb and pollute the mind. So this is one of the problems we have in modern society. There is so much coming in, and if we have too much coming in the mind, the mind is the most volatile, the most uh, susceptible, aspect of our subtle body. Let's say all these things, all these signals, all these stimulus coming through the mind, and the mind is changing all the time. When the mind is being bombarded by too much stimulus, and then the mind is subject to much more agitation. Okay, so it's important that we protect, and there are some nice analogies here. So when the world shapes the mind, when the world takes shape in the mind via the sense, it then has the capacity to disturb and pollute our mind. Pollute our mind is a very nice word. That's why discipline is necessary to prevent the world from entering the mind indiscriminately, and disturbing and polluting our mind. So we need to protect. We need to have a gate to say, oh no, I'm sorry. There is no admission here for this kind, of interaction or this kind of input, or, we need to become more selective with the people and the thoughts and the energies and the events that we allow coming into our mind. You understand? Association with sattva, association with the wise, and dissociating from too much stimulus that are going to disturb the mind. Staying away from unhealthy environments, atmosphere is a primary discipline. A primary discipline, David, is staying away from unhealthy environments. Okay? So what is an unhealthy environment? It's a very rajasic, very tamasic. Oh, but I need to work in my office. There is a lot of rajas. Okay. But then once you're out of your office, so avoid more other environments which are too rajasic or tamasic. So we need to somehow minimize to the best of our possibility. The weekend, and then I was in contact with a lot of polluting, rajasic, competitive, environments, and that somehow affects my mind. And I'm not the mind, I'm working on that, but I need my mind in a good shape. Not that I define myself as my mental condition, but because if my mind is clear and then I hold this knowledge at all times, and I can enjoy this sense of freedom and independence from the mind more clearly. Okay, so when the world, where we are here, stay away from unhealthy atmosphere is a primary sensory discipline, as is avoiding the tendency to overdo even so-called health things. So we need to develop moderation. Even if a good environments and good actions, good interactions, we still, it's not only quality, but it's the quantity. And we want to have health atmospheres and health for the body and for the body and the mind. So everything. So avoidance of excess of unhealth exposure. You see, avoidance of excess of unhealth exposure, avoidance of unnecessary exposure, unhealthy exposure, unnecessary. There are some exposure that are necessary, okay? Because we are living the world. Oh, I have to go and I have to go into this environment, and then it's in a place where they are constructing something, ships, like things of flash. When my first job was to work in a factory of ships, and it's the most horrible environment. So much bang and welding and smell and chemical, so I have to spend some time there. Okay, but I'm going to minimize. So as soon as possible, I'm going to get up from there. I'm not going to stay the rest of my day there in that environment because somebody start opening a bottle of beer and got me to having small talks, No, I just go in and out. Okay, so unnecessary. So staying away from unnecessary unhealthy atmospheres, is a primary discipline, sensory discipline, as is avoiding the tendency to overdo. Avoidance of excess of unhealth exposure is necessary because the sense organs are open gates that must be guarded. Very nicely put. I love this analogy of having a guard there. Say, excuse me, Show me your credentials. Show me your ID. I want to see. You have a Sattva ID, and then you can pass. But if you have a Rajasic, Tamasic, Swami Shimaya advised us to put up a board, no admission without permission. Don't make your mind a public toilet to get dirty. So nice, huh? Don't make your mind, fully available and vulnerable and open to anyone to come in. When I lived in the United States for 14 years, I learned an expression that I liked very much. I was doing a certain business with someone from Seattle, and then business was not working, and then I would have some complaints. I would say, because of Jesus and Jesus and that. And he was on the top of this organization, and he used to say, come on, don't spit on my ear, spitting on my ear, so it's like, if you want to just have this kind of talks, I just say, no, I'm sorry, there is no admission here, don't make your mind a public toilet to get dirty or to allow everybody to spit on your ear. This sense discipline is achieved through a life of alert discrimination, vigilance, okay? Discipline, vigilance, observing and again and again, reevaluating your relationships, your associations, and then seeing again and again what it does to the mind, and so on. A life of alert discrimination. See, discrimination is there because we are talking of Vedanta. Vedanta is the path that requires the discriminative, discerning, intelligent intellect to adjust everything. The mental discipline of the mind is the most important aspect. There are 4 aspects of the mind that should be taken care of. Relaxation. Most of us understand meditation, or this stage of Upasana, as meditation for the sake of relaxation. Okay, I got into meditation, I got into Osho Rajneesh, I got into spirituality because I want to relax. I was too stressed out. So we get into often now in the West, we get into spirituality, trying to relax the mind. It's a discipline to try to slow down all this mental agitation, stimulus, and oh no, I don't want to know. I go and I close my eyes in my bedroom and I try to reduce the stress. Stress management, stress reduction is most of what people do in the spiritual world in the name of meditation. Very few people around the days of Osho Rajneesh understood meditation as concentration. Osho used to say, meditation is not concentration. Meditation is silence. It's to stay like that until you don't need to think or concentrate or anything. Of course, he was teaching just the experiential relaxation kind of meditation, which goal is just a silent mind, concentration. So we need to develop this Upasana for the sake of concentration, which is the ability to focus the mind. Why? Because unless I have a focused mind, I'm not going to be able to do my Yana Yoga. For Yana Yoga, I need to have a present, focused mind with the capacity to process logic, to process analysis of experience as presented by Vedanta. Yoga, can you come here, please? And connect your laptop here because the battery is dying. So we need to have an ability to concentrate, to stay focused. Expansion, the mind should be able to expand to accommodate the teachings, accommodate all these new notions and concepts brought in by Vedanta, by the Upanishad. If I have a narrow mind, I'm not going to be able to expand and receive these teachings, So an inquiring mind. This means that one needs an open, expansive, and inquiring mind and not be a prisoner to narrow limited mindset. So if my mind is too crystallized, too narrow, too fixated with my notions about whatsoever, you know, and then I will be just not able to receive, you know, anything that's out of my boxed mind, you know. Refined mind, of course, with cultivation of ethical values. These critical faculties can be developed by the practice of meditation, Upasana, to refine the mind, to refine the personality. Based on each one of these four faculties, meditation can be classified in four varieties. And that will be leaving for our next Thursday meeting. Okay, so this is a very nice subject. Next Thursday, I suggest we come back from this mental discipline, which is what meditation is most about. Okay, meditation as we know it in the West, which has the purpose of relaxing the mind, developing concentration, expansion, you know, and refining one personality, making it really nice and elegant and balanced, you know, and gentle, and generous, and so on. So we do it all next week. And I say goodbye. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord, thank you all. Nice meeting with you. Small group today, so I'll be sending tomorrow, most probably, the previous video as well, because I did not send that email with the previous class on Panchadas and our meeting of today as well. Okay, namaste. Love you. See you next time, Ishwara willing. Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks. Bye now.